Hey, hockey fans, welcome into this week's episode of Five for Fighting on the Huddle Up podcast feed. It's me, Mikey B. I'm back. A little bit later than normal. This week's been a little crazy. For those of you that don't know and are not wrestling fans, the unfortunate passing of Jay Briscoe really kind of threw a wrench into a bunch of my plans for yesterday, because I didn't want to miss the 3CT live show, where they talked about, their memories of Jay. So I normally try to record this thing Wednesday night or Thursday in between 3CT going off the air and the Take 3 Wrestling podcast with Huddle Up Incorporated founder Big Jim. So I thought about doing that, but then, once 3CT went off the air, I had to do some other stuff. So, a little bit later than normal, which again, I'm going to work on getting this out earlier to you guys. So sorry about that again. This week's just been a little bit more on the crazy side with everything that transpired and, than the other shows and stuff like that. So if you haven't already, subscribe, 5-star if you wouldn't mind. Here, the Huddle Up podcast feed. You can follow me on Twitter at They Call Me Bern, BERN, last 4 letters. You can go to our social medias, Huddle Up Pod on Twitter, on Facebook, as well as the TikTok. The link tree there will take you to our TeePublic store, where you can pick from any of the designs that we have currently up. I actually wore my Huddle Up podcast t-shirt flying back from DC prior to the Week 18 slate. So that was cool. Was able to share that with everybody. So again, if you haven't already, if you would so happily and be so kind to subscribe, share this with a friend that might like hockey or maybe just sports content in general, because you obviously have the Tuesday live show as well as the N1 show with Ernest and the pitch, which is starting in a couple weeks with Matt from the show. All right, well, let's get to why you guys are actually here rather than listening to me shill things, and that is the National Hockey League. Topic number 1 of our discussion today: Steven Stamkos lights the lamp for the 500th time in his National Hockey League career, and has a hat trick in the 5-2 win over Vancouver. He becomes the 47th player in NHL history to reach 500 goals and the 19th to do it in less than 1,000 games. I think the real thing here is the COVID year, then a couple of years where Stamkos was dinged up. I feel like he would have been here a lot sooner if he was able to stay healthy and had the full slate of games. But he was able to get here in under 1,000 games. Kudos to Stamkos. Dude's a machine. He's a goal scorer. I think obviously not to the merit of the Great 8, but a guy who is a really good goal scorer, and really is the heart and soul of that Tampa Bay team. So congratulations to Steven on career goal number 500. The Montreal Canadiens, first overall pick, Juraj, I'm going to butcher this, Seifakovsky, will miss 3 months. He had 4 goals and 6 assists in 39 games. It's a lower body injury that will not require surgery. That's the good news out of it. The bad news is obviously that he'll miss an extended period of time here in his rookie season. It's not good for him. It's not good for obviously the Canadiens, because you want those guys on the ice as much as possible, especially when they're as young as he is, trying to get as much reps as possible. So the injury there, like I said, the good news is it's not going to end up in surgery, so that's a plus. But unfortunately, he is going to end up missing time due to the injury. Our third topic of the week is, oh, hold on, my machine's not working. There it is. Our third topic of this week is that Connor Bedard, the consensus now number one overall pick after his performance for Team Canada in the junior World Junior Championships. Currently sitting 5 months away from the Nashville draft in 2023. Um, it's highlighted by Bedard, who is the 17-year-old, and has pretty much cemented himself as the runaway number one overall pick. The gold medalist from Halifax, Nova Scotia. That's where the World Junior Championships were played. Um, Averaged 3.29 points per game in the tournament. Yeah, that team is whoever gets him is going to be very fortunate to have his services. A young piece to build around. Excited to see what the future holds for him. Um, I don't necessarily know exactly where he'll end up because we still have some time left. So keep an eye on the standings. We'll talk about that more post All Star break because that's getting ready to come up here. Fan voting just ended a couple days ago, so we'll talk about that more. But on next week's episode, we'll talk about the final lineups, especially after injuries and things like that. But yeah, unfortunate that you know the injuries are going to probably hamper that All Star game. But Bedard making himself the probably cemented number one overall pick could be a very interesting run the rest of the way. Nashville Predators Mike McCarron has returned from his brief stay at the Players Assistance Program. He's available to the Predators after entering the Players Assistant Program. The NHL and the NHLPA announced Wednesday that McCarron returned after receiving care through the Joint Player Association Program. McCarron still will have access to any and all needed for follow-up care. The 27-year-old entered the program on December 11th without the league and union specifying the reason he played 15 games, scoring 1 goal and assist on 21 shots. The NHL and the NHLPA started this players' assistant program in 1996, giving players access to confidential phone lines and counselors in each city in the league. The joint funded group assists players and their families with mental health, substance abuse, and other matters. The Predators currently sit at 21, 17, and 6 and sit just outside of the second wildcard spot in the Western Conference behind Calgary with a game in hand. So awesome to know that Mike's back. Glad that he is back on the ice for the Nashville Predators. Obviously, we're not going to speculate on why he was there. We don't know. To be honest with you, I don't necessarily know that any of us need to know. But whatever Mike was going through, he feels that he's on the other side of that. So continued strength and support to him and his family and everything that's going on there. So nice to see him back. Nice to see him around his teammates again. So we'll keep pulling for you here on the Five for Fighting podcast. But yeah, it's nice to see that the National Hockey League has these things accessible to everybody at the drop of a hat. So kudos to the NHL for that one. Definitely think that this is something that I'm not going to say that leagues need to make more accessible, um, but I think that players need to take this opportunity to go when there's this help available. Unfortunately, a lot of players see it as weakness, which players you shouldn't feel that way. I think that this is something that a lot of people could benefit from. I think that this is something that you could see more players post career be on another level with this stuff being accessible to them now and in the future. So I think kudos to the National Hockey League. Kudos to Mike for knowing that he needed the help that he needed. So my hope is that more people see his step out as okay, he did it and things are okay. Now maybe I can do it and things will be okay with me. So if you or anyone please tell them not to hesitate to talk to someone, because at the end of the day, talking is the only way that people can fix things. So kudos to Mike, kudos to the Predators and the National Hockey League for getting him any and all the help that he so thought that he needed. Our fifth and final topic for this quick show this week is the extension of broadcast agreement between the National Hockey League and Sirius XM that was announced yesterday. Um, it says this: Sirius XM Canada and the National Hockey League today announced an extension of their broadcast agreement through the 2028-2029 NHL season. SiriusXM will continue to deliver fans across North America access to every NHL game throughout the regular season and the Stanley Cup playoffs, as well as a daily in-depth coverage of the sport on the NHL Radio Network, the only 24/7 audio channel dedicated to the National Hockey League. It also says this: subscribers can tune into the NHL game broadcast in their car and at home or on the go with the XM app. The XM app offers all 32 teams' channels, each dedicated to carrying the official radio broadcast for each team, making it easier for fans to listen to their home team announcers for all NHL games. I've used it before to listen to Capitals Radio Network, because I live in South Florida and I don't get to listen to the Caps broadcast, especially the radio broadcast, very often. With ESPN Plus, I actually do get to listen to the TV feed, so it's been nice to sit back and watch the home announcers there. SiriusXM NHL Radio will be offering listeners comprehensive coverage of the 2023 Honda NHL All-Star Game from Sunrise, Florida, which is just a little bit further south from me here. That is February 2nd through the 4th. The first time SiriusXM will produce and air exclusive national audio broadcast of the All-Star Game on Saturday, February 4th. Coverage beginning at 2 o'clock Eastern. Steve Koulis will be your play-by-play voice, while Gord Stellick will be the color analyst, and Scott Lachlan will be conducting interviews with both teams from the bench. The NHL All-Star Weekend coverage will also include interviews with players and coaches from Media Day on Thursday, which coverage begins at 3 o'clock, as well as a live broadcast of the All-Star Skills Competition, which will take place February 3rd, starting at 6 p.m. So more in-depth coverage of the All-Star Game this week, or this season, from XM Radio. Nice to see that the National Hockey League gets an extension from XM, who obviously has great coverage of pretty much all sports that they cover. I've used the MLB one a lot as well. So yeah, definitely a plus that the National Hockey League gets basically, I'm not going to say the gift, but they get the greatly deserved extension with SiriusXM Radio. That'll run through the end of the 28-29 season. Will probably be renewed again at some point. So congratulations to the NHL for that. The Grip It or Rip It Player of the Week. This one was the easiest one. It was Steven Stamkos for goal number 500. It was kind of the same way that I did with Alex when he broke the Gordie Howe streak. 500 for Steven Stamkos gets him the Grip It or Rip It Player of the Week award this week. So yeah, definitely an abbreviated week. But it was a fun week of hockey around the league, so definitely a plus there. But that's going to do it for the show this week, guys. Like I said, a very quick and condensed show. I will obviously be back next week to talk more. That's when we will preview the NHL All-Star Game. So be back here to listen to that. I'll go over the full rosters as well as the 5 normal topics that I have here in the 5 for Fighting. Again, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, 5-star if you would be so kind, to the Huddle Up podcast feed. Huddle Up Incorporated, as I call it here. You will also get, by liking this feed, you will get Big Jim's 5 observations. You will obviously get the podcast version of the Tuesday live show. You'll also get And One with Ernest, and you will get, starting soon, The Pitch with Matt. But that's the show for this week, guys. If you haven't already, you can follow me on Twitter at They Call Me Burn. You can follow me on Instagram if you would like, Mike Bernier _. If you like wrestling, you can listen to the Take 3 Wrestling podcast. That records Thursday nights and drops first thing Friday morning. Or if you like to do watch-alongs, myself and Joe Lopez are doing a rewatch of WWECW that can be found at From Adam Lee to Zombie, a WWECW watch-along. Any of those things there. If you have a hockey friend or a sports friend that may like hockey, please share this with them. Let them know that we're doing some cool stuff over here. But I'm not going to waste any more of your guys' time. Enjoy your weekend, everybody, and we will see you on the ice next week for more Five for Fighting right here on the Huddle Up podcast feed.